Welcome to this explainer. Okay, if you felt the temperature rising in your household lately, trust me, you are definitely not alone. We're diving right into what is arguably the most critical, turbulent, and honestly, most intense phase of a gifted child's development, the mid-teen years, right around ages 13 to 16.
So why does giftedness seem to get so much harder in the teen years? If you're a parent or a teacher, you've probably asked yourself this exact question, right? Probably in a moment of sheer exhaustion. Well, today we're validating those struggles and pulling back the curtain on the hidden realities of the gifted teen mind. It isn't just you, and it certainly isn't just typical teenage angst. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll look at the mid-teen intensity, peek inside the gifted mind, tackle twice-exceptionality and identity, cover home strategies that actually work, discuss advocating for school support, and finally, point you to some essential resources. All right, Section 1, the mid-teen intensity, ages 13 to 16. You know, there's a common misconception out there that giftedness just kind of fades during these years, as kids supposedly blend in. But in reality, it dramatically intensifies. We're talking about massive intellectual power colliding head-on with normal adolescent identity formation. It's a lot. Okay, let's dive into this. Gifted teens are famous for their deep existential and philosophical thinking. They have this profound moral sensitivity and idealism. They're constantly asking huge questions. What is the meaning of life? Or how can I actually make a difference in a broken world? Grappling with these massive concepts doesn't just make them smart. It often triggers deep anxiety, existential dread, or even depression when they realize, well, the adults around them don't have all the answers either. Moving on to Section 2. Inside the Gifted Mind, Asynchrony Explained. Let's look at the underlying psychological framework here so we can truly understand why these teens react so strongly to their environment and their own thoughts. Imagine living life at a higher emotional volume. That is the everyday reality for a gifted teen. Their emotional intensity means they feel literally everything more deeply than their average peers. A moment of joy, it can be utterly euphoric. But a perceived injustice or a moment of sadness, that can feel completely overwhelming, like the end of the world.
And this brilliantly illustrates the core conflict they experience every single day: asynchrony. On one hand, you have their massive intellectual capacity. They can handle university-level ideas, rapid learning, complex problem-solving. But on the other hand, their emotional and executive functions are, well, still developing. So you get lagging time management, poor planning, and a real struggle with emotional regulation. It is an incredibly frustrating gap for them between a brilliant intellect and developing self-management skills.
Section 3. Twice-exceptionality and identity challenges. This is where the mid-teen years often painfully reveal that a child is what we call twice-exceptional, or 2E, meaning they are gifted, but they also have a co-occurring learning or developmental difference.
Let's map out how these realities overlap. For a teen with ADHD, brilliant ideas constantly clash with severe organizational struggles. If they have autism spectrum traits, their incredible deep focus might be totally overshadowed by extreme social and sensory exhaustion. For those battling anxiety or depression, those deep existential questions we just talked about, they fuel real mental health hurdles. And with learning differences, advanced comprehension is often masked by things like slow processing speed or dyslexia. These hidden overlaps put teens at a severe risk of underachievement if they are left unsupported.
So how do these unseen struggles translate into the visible behaviors you see at home? Well, to survive socially and academically, these kids engage in intense masking just to fit in. They feel lonely or fundamentally different. You'll often see a sudden disengagement if school feels meaningless to them, leading to severe motivation struggles rooted in that existential dread, coupled with crippling perfectionism. So they aren't just being lazy teens, they are completely overwhelmed. Pivoting to Section 4, home strategies that work for nurturing intensity. Knowing the challenges is really only half the battle. Let's focus on exactly what parents and guardians can do at home to navigate this intensity and foster a healthy environment. Let's move to and see how this builds into an actionable plan. First, create space for those deep existential conversations, and remember, you don't need to have all the answers. Next, support their autonomy with flexible routines to help out that lagging executive function. Third, encourage healthy outlets for their intensity, like activism, creative projects, or sports. Fourth, teach them self-compassion to actively fight against that perfectionism. And crucially, monitor their mental health closely. These are your absolute foundational tools for home support to help them navigate emotional intensity and form a healthy identity.
All right, Section 5. Advocating for school support to meet their needs. We have to transition from home support to the absolute necessity of fighting for accommodations in the educational system.
So, the crucial point is that the home environment alone just isn't enough. You need to advocate for specific school support. Push for subject acceleration or dual enrollment to keep them intellectually stimulated and engaged. Request flexible deadlines and alternative assessments to accommodate those executive function gaps. Help them find social support, maybe via debate teams or gifted peer groups. And if they're twice exceptional, it's vital to secure proper accommodations like extra time, quiet spaces, or assistive tech. This checklist is exactly how you combat underachievement and high school disengagement.
Section 6. Essential Resources and Support from Gifted Children SA. We know that high school gifted support, especially in places like South Africa, can be incredibly scarce. But listen, you do not have to do this alone.
All the incredible information in this explainer comes directly from Gifted Children South Africa. I highly encourage you to make their website, giftedchildrensouthafrica.org, your ultimate destination for teen-specific guidance. When you visit the site, you can immediately download free, practical resources tailored exactly to what we've discussed today. Seriously, go grab them. They also have a fantastic dedicated Spotify podcast series for deeper expert dives into the gifted journey. Plus, you can find links to all their social media platforms right there on the website. It's an amazing way to join a community of parents, educators, and professionals who truly understand what you're going through.
I want to leave you with this final thought. Your gifted teen's journey is intense, no doubt about it. But they don't have to walk it alone. Will you be their guide? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Advocate fiercely for your brilliant teens, and I'll see you next time.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.